Warning! This program contains irrefutable facts, unapologetically biased opinions, and shameless homerism for the Southeastern Conference and its teams. Misguided fans of other leagues and teams may find some of the information in this broadcast to be disillusioning, deflating, or even offensive. You've been warned. Kip, Terry, Tony, Legend, Case, and our special guests, we own the airwaves. Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on Jocks 94.5. It's game time. Saturdays, 10:30, ABC 3340 television. Get ready for the SEC on ABC and get in the starting lineup. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. on Jocks, it is Kip and Terry after a great day of football, the morning after. Football weekend, total information domination.
Welcome back to a championship starting lineup. I'm Tony Curry, Kip Keefer, Executive Director of the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, and of course, the man, the myth, the legend. He is the legend. Here we are, championship week. College football, we got a full slate again today. We got the Iron Bowl coming up here a little bit later on this afternoon. First game this morning, of course, BYU and Texas Tech for the championship. Coming up here top of the hour, and of course, a little bit later on tonight, we're going to have Duke and Virginia, a 7-5 Duke playing for a championship.
Shocking! It's Alabama and Georgia in the SEC championship game. I'm stunned.
Yeah, right, you really are. For Georgia, definitely. For Alabama, yes, they're back in it. Let's start right there, man. We've already seen this show. 24,
Many times.
24-21. At the time, Georgia was 5th ranked in the country. Alabama goes in and gets it done. And, of course, one of the marquee victories for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Can they knock them off again, Kip?
You know, I think so. At some point, you have to say it's not just a coincidence; it's a trend. And for whatever reason, Alabama has Georgia's number in these most recent meetings, like the last 10. Georgia did, as the First Lady of the SEC points out regularly, did get a win in a kind of a significant game, a national championship game. But Ledge, what do you think? Alabama going in? Where are these two teams in terms of how they're playing compared to week 4?
Well, it's been a long season, many injuries. We found out this week that LT Overton's not going to play. That's going to be big for Alabama. Georgia also is losing their center, Bobo. That's huge for them. So if I was Alabama and Georgia, honestly, guys, I would play my third-string players, the JV guys, and just say the hell with college football in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Get out there healthy, because this is going to be a war that could affect both of these teams in the playoffs.
You want to come out healthy, but you got to come out a winner, because if you're Alabama, you can't lose the game.
Well, as long as I don't lose by more than 3 or 4 or 5.
What's your guys' opinion on just the championship game, period? If Alabama loses this game and gets left out of the playoffs, this might be the last time we ever see an SEC championship.
Or it may be the first time you see a 3-loss team actually get in. Let me tell you something, man. And we do have the wonderfulness of knowing that Alabama got it done during the season, 24-21. By the way, they have covered 6 of the last 7 games against Georgia. They do own Georgia, period. Kirby Smart just cannot beat them. Something that Alabama did that was pleasantly surprised, they ran the football against Auburn. Jam Miller looked fantastic. I know he's banged up. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. But if you remember back in the first matchup, they could not run the football. They were averaging, I think, 3.1 yards per carry. They gave up over 227 yards on the ground to Georgia. I remember them vividly going for it many times on third down, as they should. 13 of 18. Ty Simpson was on fire. I think he was 28 of 34 in that game against Georgia, and they had that really long drive that I think it was like 12 or 13 play drive. They're going to have to do that again against the Georgia Bulldogs. I will say this. I think both teams are better than they were in week 4. I know a lot of people want to look at Alabama and say they've had a horseshoe up their hoo-ha, but I tell you what, that's the sign of a good football team that can win close games. And with Kalen DeBoer going for it on that 4th down and getting that touchdown, kudos for him for growing some big ones there before the Auburn game and growing up. He's growing up before our eyeballs. This was not a guy that's a new head coach. He's been around for a while, and he's showing that he deserves to be in this game coming up on Saturday. So I'm super excited for it.
Well, I got to needle you guys because you guys have been in this competition all year in our bankroll contest. Tony had just moved ahead. The Legend brothers spring a parlay last week and moved back into second place. But, Tony, you know that came down to, for you, having Auburn,
them going for the touchdown instead of kicking the field goal that led the Legend brothers to winning and made your
phone was ringing off the hook. Dog cussing me. You jinxed me. Da 20-20, and I was looking good. Funny thing is, I had the over. This is funny. I had the over 9.5 victories for Alabama in a futures bet.
Oh, that's true.
So I needed Alabama. So I had real money on that play. So I'm thinking to myself, do I want it? So if Alabama wins by 3, I win both sides, and I'm a happy camper.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they were down 17-0, people were like, you dumb bash, picking Auburn to win that football game outright. Blah blah. I said it's the Iron Bowl. Hold on a second.
You were getting 6 points. You were looking great.
And let me tell you, until I saw 0-0-0-0, it was not over until the last play.
Auburn still was driving at the end.
But good for Kalen DeBoer, and I really believe, I think he's seen this picture too many times. You don't score a touchdown there, and you give them the ball. I know they had to go a long way, and Alabama's defense was playing lights out. I love the fact they did that because it forced Auburn's hands. So
how were you reacting to that call, Legend, while it was happening? Were you shocked?
Well, I was sitting there, I was thinking, damn, Tony Curry's about to win this game down here and stay in second place. I'm going to have to hear it again, but who knew that Coach DeBoer had kahunas this big? Who knew? Thank you, Coach DeBoer. Won some major points with the Legend by putting me back in second place.
When they snapped that ball with 2 seconds left, I said, you got it. And even the announcers are like, I didn't either. There was no reason because they weren't going to get like offsides or anything. It didn't matter. So they were too close. But
I was like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Yes, he's a genius.
Hey, something else happened, I thought, and I did some research. We have set a record this year in college football. Over the last 2 seasons, there has been a 49.1% turnover in head coaches. We've had 60 head coaching. That surpasses the record of 52 back in the early 80s. But 60 different head coaching jobs out of the 132 jobs is open. It's 49.1%. And the season ain't over yet, folks. So we've had a lot of coach changes. And, of course, we've had a lot of mixed up. A lot of people thought the Lane Kiffin, the Florida job was him. Next thing you know, he's going to LSU. That's been an ugly story. You and I did a great Keefer.
Without his dog, which has turned out, Tony, is not even his dog. Yeah. All this publicity with Juice the dog and the LSU fans, is Juice going to be on the plane?
Yeah.
The guy who owns Juice said, he's not Lane Kiffin's dog, he's my dog. He's just been using him all year for public relations. So they got a great new SEC shorts out this week called PR Paws. It's like a joke thing where you can rent a dog to make it look like your image is a lot better. So Lane Kiffin, is there anything authentic about this guy?
No, I mean, it's his 7th job in 18 years. He is what he is. We talked about, the scorpion and the toad. He's going to get stung. And do you think this is going to be his last job? No. And a lot of people are like, well, you know what? Ole Miss has never been a national championship job, and it is now. Well, I got news for you. It's going right back to where it was before.
Yeah.
Because Lane Kiffin's not there. And for Ole Miss not to allow him to coach, that's your only shot since 1962 to win a national championship. Check your ego and let him coach the game because he's a lot better than what you got coming in next.
Legend.
I realize.
Have they sent you?
Les Miles won a national championship there, and Ed Orgeron won a national championship there. What does that tell you? And Brian Kelly, I don't know what that says about Brian.
That doesn't say much for him. Tony, I've been asking Legend, as the Golding family delivers your Ferrari for advancing his career. Legend got him run out of Alabama, took the Ole Miss job. Now he's a head coach in the SEC, Legend. You are a recruiting genius.
Well, I sent Pete Golding to the state line. I said, don't come back to Alabama. And somehow Ole Miss has turned this guy into a head coach. I cannot wait for the next 2 years to see this guy crash and burn and Ole Miss return to the bottom of the SEC. Tony, I'm going to be laughing all the way. I love it. Pete Golding to the rescue, baby. Here he comes, Ole Miss. Yeah. Pete Golding to the rescue.
Charlie, I was always jumping ahead. Tony, how bizarre is it that Lane Kiffin is allowing Charlie Weiss Jr., who had left the school with him, to go back to Ole Miss to call plays because he took the entire offensive staff? This is bizarre stuff.
Yeah, 8 or 9 guys are going to take him with him. Of course, he's taking half his crew, and of course, that's a thing now the coaches do. They take the entire staff. You'll see it at every other school that happens, and that's just part of the deal. They write that in the contract. Hey, you can't take this, but that's what they do.
So he's going to let Ole Miss borrow his guy.
Yeah, it's nice. When Daddy gets a better job, the son ends up getting a better job too, and that's probably the way it should be. Listen, there's no right way to go about it. It's been just nasty the whole way around. And then there's no loyalty. You and I talked about this. There's no loyalty. It's a two-way street for anybody now. It's all about the money. It's all about the clients. It's all about the money and the contracts and the guaranteed this, that, and the other. So it is what it is. And now the players are getting paid. It's just got turned into a nasty business. But we love it as fans. It's still college football. We're still watching it every Saturday. It's fantastic. It's gotten bigger and better for us. Hopefully we'll get 16 teams next year, the year after, we can get it done. But I think for this year, it's been one of the most exciting years in college football history I can remember.
Insanity, and you love insanity.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear who you're picking.
And it's still Georgia, Alabama at the end of the day.
Who could imagine?
And you're going to see that right here on ABC 3340, right after the Texas Tech game, which, by the way, I have a play on. I'm telling you right now, I got a play on the Texas Tech BYU game.
Been warning you about BYU.
Coming up the top of the hour, so we better bring our bankrolls out here because Tony Bone's going to make up a little
It's Final
space
Jeopardy
today.
Day on the bankroll contest.
It's going to be good. We're going to have a year of reckoning against each other. It's going to be good. So one way or another. Case better look out, too. It's all coming up right here. Along with the Legends Cave, Case Keefer and his heaters out there from Las Vegas. We got another monster show for you before a full day of great college football right here on ABC 3340.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave, baby, where few men have ever been. Ronnie Van Zant, Tupac, Elvis Presley, and Tony Curry and Kip Keefer. Hold up! Get this out of my cave right here. What is this? Get my agent. Get that out of here. My bad, Birmingham. I didn't see that.
We moved the table into the Legend
I
Cave.
did not see that. I'm sorry, Birmingham.
Redecoration.
I'm sorry. Hey, we only got 2 minutes. Alabama's got to handle business today. Tony, Ty Simpson keeps running up to the line, waiting for the final second to snap the ball. What is that all about? And can Alabama right the ship today?
He's only had to call 2 timeouts the last 4 games because he's waited the last minute. He is in full control of this game. 28-34, first time they played. 13-18, third down in conversions. If they do that again, they're going to win the football game. But can they put those gaudy numbers up again against this defense in Georgia?
Ty Simpson, sometimes just run the play, dude. Stop running the clock down to 1 second every time. Kip, I think this is going to be a defensive war. Kai's got it going over. What do you think?
I think the defenses are going to rule here. And you and I have talked all week, and you've been getting a lot of press around the social media, especially Hollywood Williams is probably, to me, the key to the game. Can they exploit Georgia deep with Hollywood Williams, who's been absent without leave in recent weeks?
They got to run. They got to run the football. They got to run the football. I mean, Bama's got to run the football. We saw Alabama do that honestly quite well at 5.
Georgia's been really good against the run all year.
You saw how that opened up a lot of things for Alabama, getting up 17-0 early in the ball game. Now they got away from the run the second half. And they can't do that. But against a Georgia defense, they need to have another one of those long 13-14 play drives like they did the first time against Georgia.
There's no question Alabama's defense is playing better than they did.
Yeah, they really are.
Or were in the first matchup with Georgia. So I think this is going to be a defensive
2017. 2017.
Who you got?
I'm going to take Georgia 2017.
Barry said, get out of the cave. Hold on, come on, man. I got it, Barry. He's family. Kip, who you got?
I'm rooting for Bama, but I'm saying Georgia.
I just in the bankroll. I'm going to go the other direction. I got to take Georgia.
Both of y'all get out of the cave.
We're banished.
Both of y'all are in the cave.
We're banished.
Alabama wins 27-20. Now let me take that.
Go Dogs.
19-17. I don't care. Just win, Kevin DeBoer. And if we don't, playoff committee, don't make me fine you. We still better make the playoffs. Remember, it's just a game. I don't know where Kip went. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Tony the Legend.
Sports insane.
Sports insane.
Step back into the groove and then into the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Check this out. It's all happening here.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the local place to win.
Good times right here.
Let the Birmingham Racecourse Casino bring the good times to you. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where the good times roll.
Where you could be a winner too. Yeah, boy.
Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Vegas Heaters. I'm Case Keefer, longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Things have been going well in this segment recently, especially last week. Another 3-0 week. I think maybe my fourth undefeated 3-0 week in the bankroll contest. I think maybe even more than that. Might have had one or two others where I went 2-0-1. So we'll get three more picks at the end of this. But first, want to touch on some other things, some varieties we usually do. And a slight aside, I guess not everything was good last week because in the Players era, I gave out two futures to bet here in Las Vegas, Kansas and Iowa State. While three teams finished undefeated in the event, we had two of them, Kansas and Iowa State, and yet neither of them won the championship because of the tiebreaker rules, the point differential. We ended up seeing Michigan and Gonzaga play for the title. Michigan absolutely blows them out and wins it, of course. Feel a little bit bad not to have cashed one there, but you got to look back at your process. I think we took mid shots on both those Big 12 teams, and they were right there. I think some of these MTEs, especially if you're going to have these mega ones like Players era now in college basketball, need to be fixed a little bit. It's still just way better, Maui, Battle for Atlantis, even the PK 85 they had up in Oregon for a few years where it's that bracket. You're going to get a shot at it. I hate when a team goes undefeated and doesn't even have a chance to win. I know they're going to try to tweak the format next year. It's going to kind of be, by my understanding, more like mini tournaments with 32 teams here. We'll look forward to that when it comes. But why don't we just go ahead and get into college basketball in this segment? I've been liking to touch on the big SEC games of the day because I know all the other guys got you covered on SEC football. So why don't I talk a little bit of SEC basketball? We have two big ones today, starting, of course, with Tennessee and Illinois. Two extremely disappointing teams right now. Both teams, Illinois lost their last two big games, of course, having that seemed like great crowd at the United Center to take on Alabama, but just couldn't shake them. Alabama wins that, and then they come back and get just blown out by UConn. Tennessee, same thing. They lost here to Kansas in the aforementioned Players era, despite Kansas not having Darren Peterson. Then take on Syracuse without Donnie Freeman, lose both of those games. So who are we going to buy low on here? And I got to say, I wish I had a better opinion on this. I am kind of leaning Tennessee. However, game is in Nashville. I think as long as you can get 5 or better, I'm recording a little bit ahead of time before lines are actually out. I think I would lay it with Tennessee today. I just like their defensive backbone a little bit better. I think they're a little better shooting team than the Illini, so I'm going to lean with Tennessee there. And speaking of shooting, that informs a lot of my next pick. I know a game a lot of people watching are probably interested in. Auburn at Arizona, and I might be the last person in the country not all that high on Arizona. I know I can't take anything away from what they've done. They've beaten some great teams, probably the most accomplished team at this point of the season. But we've seen this in non-conference play with the Tommy Lloyd version of Arizona before. It always kind of tails off somewhere. There's just some red flags with this team. I don't think they're great defensively. They've never been great defensively under Lloyd. They also can't shoot. They're 361st in the nation out of 365 D1 teams in terms of three-point rate. I think that catches up to them at some point. Maybe it's not today. They probably beat Auburn, but Arizona is so high right now. I think they're going to be like almost a 10-point favorite if I had to guess in this game. I will take the big number with Auburn. I've been very impressed with Auburn recently, obviously, against St. John's here. That was unbelievable. Blew out NC State right before I'm recording this. So I would take the big point spread with Auburn and hope that they stay within it. Always like to touch on the local Las Vegas goings on. So I'm going to have one bet for UFC 323 tonight, the final pay-per-view in UFC history. At least it looks like maybe they go back to it. But of course, in January, they are starting a new $5 billion deal with a new streaming provider. Just wild for me to hear those numbers. When I started covering the sport, it was less than 10 years since they had bought the company for $1 million, the current owners at the time. Now the broadcast rights are worth billions. Pretty wild, but it's going to be nice to send off many, many years of pay-per-view at T-Mobile Arena tonight. In the co-main event, I think we might have a belt changing hands. I'm going to give out Joshua Van around plus 200, taking on the flyweight champion Alexandre Pantoja, who has been incredible, really turned back the clock. Usually these lower weight classes, this is really what's informing my bet, is when the guys get older, their efficiency really tails off. They're usually not the same, especially Pantoja, now 35. That has really been like a golden number over the years. You bet against guys when they turn that old, especially if they're at like 180s, 170 or lower weight classes. He so far has shown no signs of decay. But Van is aggressive. He's going to come at him. Maybe that gets him in trouble, but I would be willing to take the big price with Joshua Van tonight at UFC 323. Finally, 3 picks for the bankroll contest as always. I went all college football last week. I'm not going to do that this week. I know the guys got you covered on all the conference championship games. I loved Indiana at about a touchdown, but that number has crashed. I think now it's more about where it is. So 3 NFL plays, all chalk, all big games. What could go wrong? Doesn't make me feel great, but let's start with the Green Bay Packers. I will lay the 6 against the Chicago Bears. The Packers have all the boxes checked. They should be better than they are. I think you're going to see some things even out here. I like them better than the Bears going forward. So -6. Then I believe the Sunday Night Football game, Kansas City Chiefs, the money is coming in on the Houston Texans, now split between 3.5 here. Let me lay the 3 with the Chiefs. I've been anti-Chiefs most of the year, but I think we're just going too far now. They're like 1-6 in one-score games. Their demise is greatly exaggerated. Give me the Chiefs -3. And then one more favorite, of course, Monday Night Football. I will lay the 2.5 with the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't think Justin Herbert looked the same, even against the lowly Raiders after that hand injury. I know he had surgery. He's going to get through it. But I will take the Eagles, the Chiefs, and the Packers all laying points for the bankroll contest. Let's see what the rest of the guys came up with.
Well, Terry, the Tide is in Baton Rouge on a Saturday night. Always a tough test against LSU. A critical game on the schedule. The offense lately sort of sputtering and inconsistent. I'm sure Coach DeBoer is tuned in. What would you tell him needs to happen for Alabama to come out with a big win?
If Alabama needs to get back to running the football, this is absurd. They're trying to make Jalen Milroe into a pocket passer. The man is a phenomenal athlete. Turn him loose. Also, it wouldn't hurt to give the ball to Haynes and Miller and make that LSU defense prove that they can stop them.
And tonight in college football, Alabama gets a resounding win in Baton Rouge, demolishing the LSU Tigers 42-13. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe was unleashed and dominated the Tigers with a career high of 185 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns.
When it's game time, everybody is listening.
T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. We have liftoff of Season 9 of The Morning After. Terry Quillian and Kip Keefer at the controls, delivering a payload of unlimited, invaluable information and entertainment, pinpoint analysis, and unique perspective unavailable anywhere else in the universe. A supersonic show in an orbit all of its own. If you love college football and fun, get on board. Boldly going where no football show has gone before.
Hipster, are we there yet?
On our way, Ter. Definitely on our way.
Welcome back to another fantastic show. The starting lineup, all in, is Kai Gregory. He's got his entire wad on the over 47 in the Alabama Georgia game.
I think it might be a defensive game.
I thought it was too.
Kai always loves the big points.
I actually had the under in that game. I'm going to do a 2-team parlay. That was one of my 2 teams, and I got rid of it just because.
How about that?
But
all in.
But if you remember now, the first time they played each other, it was 17-14 at halftime.
Yeah,
I mean, they were scoring points up and down. They only scored 7 points in the entire second half of the football game. So, I mean, maybe he sees something we don't, but he's got all in. And by the way, K4 Wins. K4 Wins are a great site. He takes care of that. Great site. If you want some plays, we've been on fire over 70% over the last year and a half. K4Wins.com. K4Wins.com. Check it out. And also the Woodhouse Day Spa. I want to thank, of course, Stuart Rome and his entire crew for a wonderful Christmas. They did a thing this Black Friday and Cyber Monday. They're just killing it. Woodhouse Day Spa is wonderful.
Gift certificates.
Yeah.
Great Christmas.
Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. He did something where you bought 5 and you got 7 procedures, which was something that's over. It's not done. But check out the Woodhouse Day Spa. They do wonderful. Also, Sasquatch Toys and Comics. They do wonderful work down there. Seth Bizarre.
Yeah, I want to go to Sasquatch this week.
Oh, man, it is fantastic. All right, it's time for the starting lineups. Bankroll contest. We start with a legend. You can do whatever you want.
Final Jeopardy.
Final Jeopardy. Knock yourself out.
Well, I am firmly in second place ahead of Tony Curry. And glad to
Make
be
sure
there.
you bet on the game that hasn't been played yet.
Brothers there. He can't take it that the Legend Brothers been doing this for over 50 years and know what they're doing. Of course, we wasn't on radio like 40 years for him, so we don't have his great knowledge, but somehow we've gotten into second place. So we're going to do a 2-team parlay the way we've done all year and continue to dominate. And we will take the Ohio State Buckeyes -4.5 against Indiana. We like Ohio State. This game will be close until late, and Ohio State will pull away. And we also like the Cincinnati Bengals +5.5 over the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. Joe Burrow is back and playing ball. Buffalo hadn't covered nothing all year long. $500 in Final Jeopardy as the Legend Brothers push forward to the championship.
You are
Terry.
going to beat me with my own
Your
team.
own team.
That's
I'm
like,
going to beat you with your
that's
own
like taking
team.
my favorite baseball bat and beat me to hell with it. That's unbelievable.
man.
I cannot believe you're going by Cincinnati Bengals.
The starting lineup has got some controversy.
That is one thing that I have not done all year long. I have not taken an NFL game, and I was going to, but I'm not going to do it. It's not been my bread and butter. My college has been really, really good, so I'm going to go with my college. I looked it over. I think you can really tell a lot about a handicapper when they don't have as much to pick from, because when you only have 4 or 5 games, you have to really do some homework.
I think it makes it easier.
Since Kai's going to be going all in, he's doing all in with, of course, the over in the Bama game, over 47, the entire load there, Kai Gregory going all in. I'm going to go all in.
Uh-oh.
All 1750.
And it's not that hard to figure out. They're the best team against the spread this year. The funny thing is they're playing a team that was number 2 against the spread. BYU was 8-3 against the spread this year. Texas Tech 11-1 against the spread. Only once did they come up short in covering the game, and that's even after the last few weeks when people really just started pounding on. I'm taking Texas Tech minus the 12.5. I think they win by at least 14, but Texas Tech, for the entire 1,700 and change, whatever it is, let it fly. I'm going to double it up. I'm leaving the table. My flight's about ready to take off back to Birmingham from Las Vegas. I will tell you, though, Case, we got the privilege of having Case on our show on K4 Wins. Case loves Indiana. I don't know if he's played them on the show or not. I haven't seen that part yet, but he loved Indiana in that game. He could not believe that Indiana was catching points against Ohio State. So best of luck to you, my friend.
Best of luck. Let me say this. That's a good pick. David Legends told me earlier this morning Texas Tech is a great pick.
Here we go.
And Texas Tech, the model everybody should be. Texas Tech hired a high school coach, folks, for the bottom figure of $3 million a year, and they spent $30 million on players. So I think that's the winning formula.
Yeah.
You don't have to have some big fancy recycled coach. Spend the money on players.
Yep.
So I'm the cellar dweller here. I have done a terrible job all year of picking the right game. I'll write down 7 or 8 games a week, and the 2 I select, and I hit the other 4 or 5. So I'm going to go all in as well with my puny $1,050, and I'm playing a 2-game parlay, and I'm going with name brands. I agree with the Legend brothers. I think Ohio State outclasses and beats Indiana. And I've got to go back to the SEC where my roots are. I had Georgia earlier this year when they fell on their face. Alabama just stunned them in the first half. I think the playing field's a little more equal now, although Georgia's not in Athens. I think Kirby Smart is tired of hearing all this who's your daddy stuff. I think Georgia covers the 2.5, probably only wins by a field goal. But I think that gets both of them into the tournament. So I like Georgia and Ohio State going with chalky teams in a 2-game parlay to try to get out of the cellar.
I like Georgia too. I'm not, we talk about trends, and it's fun to sit there and say they've covered 6 of the last 7. We love those kind of numbers, but I really think I don't think Kirby's going to get beat twice in the same year. I'd have to agree with you there. And it's been a fantastic year. We have had so much fun. Of course, we're not done yet, man. We got playoffs coming up here. Of course, we got 4 more weeks of NFL action going on. 2026 going to be killer. The starting lineup. So we love being on, and it's been fantastic and a great run. I just can't believe it's championship weekend already.
Tomorrow, go to the Fanatical channel on YouTube, and Legend and Bama Hater are going to be watching the show live and recording their podcast live and react to what they see. That's going to be awesome.
Yes, Fanatical podcast live.
11 o'clock tomorrow morning.
11 o'clock.
This is your Eli and Peyton podcast, isn't it?
I love it.
Like Monday Night Football.
I love it.
All right.
Bama Hater, tune in, because when Miami gets left out, we want to see how Bama Hater reacts.
Yes, it is going to be bad. Thanks for watching the starting lineup.
It's the starting lineup. Kip Keefer, Tony Curry, the Legend, and Case Keefer bring it every week.
The coaches don't like what's going on.
Fellas, wow. Congratulations.
Weather is of universal appeal. It affects you and everybody watching.